Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to share with you my fourth and last alternative card using the March 2023 paper pumpkin kit called 10 Years of Growth. This beautiful kit creates 9 greeting cards, 3 in 3 different designs. Here are the intended cards that you can create with this kit. If you would like to watch me unbox this kit and create these original cards, or see any of my other alternative cards, click on the playlist in the top right corner. Each month, I take the contents from the paper pumpkin kits and make alternative projects. Today, I'm sharing with you another card that uses the gold tissue paper from the kit and some of the pieces you may have left over after making your cards. If you are new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, click on the subscribe button in the bottom right corner. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and help you with any of your paper crafting needs. To purchase any of the products you see me use today, please visit my online store and the link is in the description below. To start this card, let's begin with the gold tissue paper background technique that I'm going to share with you today. So I've got my tissue paper here and I've just folded it to make it easier to trim with my paper trimmer. And you need a larger piece than your card front. So our card front is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to go with something that's maybe about 5 1/2 inches. And then I've got this much here. I'm just going to go ahead and cut maybe a piece that's about 7 inches. Just be careful as you cut through the tissue paper. It can tear really easily. So the first step with this tissue paper is to go ahead and crinkle it up. Then you're going to take your card base, and I'm using some thick basic white cardstock, and we are going to add this tissue paper right to that front of that card base. But we need the tissue paper to stay right along that edge. And the best way I think to do that, and to keep your fingers from getting too sticky, is to add it with some tear and tape. So go ahead and take a little bit of tear and tape and apply it right to the edge of your card base. And you'll want to do it on all 4 sides. Okay, can you see that tear and tape there? So let's start on one side. I'm going to start on the right side. It's just easier for me since I'm left-handed. But if it's easier for you to start on the top or the bottom or the left side, you're welcome to do that. So I've removed the tear and tape covering from the right side. And I'm going to take my tissue paper and I'm going to crinkle it up a little bit more. And right along that edge, I'm just going to create some tissue paper crinkles all the way down. So it doesn't need to be totally flat. Okay, you're just going to crinkle it up and stick it right to that adhesive there. And then just press down so that it stays in place. Then you can go ahead and remove a little bit from the other tear and tape. You don't want to do all of it. You just want to do a little bit at a time. And then I do like to have a little bit of adhesive in the center as well. So I'm going to use my liquid adhesive and just kind of crinkle and press as that tissue paper goes down. Okay. It's going to give you this really beautiful paper. And then you can just keep going all the way across your card base. So just kind of crinkle, press, crinkle and press as you work your way across. So I've now removed all of my paper backing, finishing with a little more adhesive. Oh, if you need to lift up, just do so carefully. It's a little bit too flat on there for my taste, but it's starting to just stick. So that's going to have to be the way it is. So go ahead and make sure that all of your edges are flat, because this is where you're going to cut along your card base, and you just want to make sure that it's sticking there and it doesn't pull up. Okay, so it's going to look something like this, and then you can take a pair of scissors, paper snips, whatever you have that's nice and sharp, and you're just going to trim right along your card base here. Okay. Okay, and that's all ready for your card. It's just a really beautiful technique and a great way to use that gorgeous gold tissue paper. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is create this cute little garden on the front of our card. So I have a piece of basic white cardstock that is a 1/2 inch smaller than my card front. So that would be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I'm going to use a couple of the die cuts that I have left over. So I've got one of these Coastal Cabana die cuts. And I'm just going to carefully remove that. I'm also going to use this beautiful leaf image here, since I've got this one left over. And then on the front, I'm going to use one of these purple ones. And then I'm also using the second one on the inside of my card. So I'm going to go ahead and pop all those out. Now I'm going to not throw this away, because I'm using the overprint for my card as well. You can see I've got 2 different kind of more negative space leaf branch images in the back. And so to do that, you're going to take a pair of paper snips. I think it's a little easier to separate from this large piece of paper. And you can choose any of the shapes here. So I really like these shapes, and I think they go well with the colors that I'm using. And you're just going to trim around this overprint area. It doesn't need to be perfect. You're just getting this beautiful color and this fun shape. You can see that I'm cutting on the inside of that color. So I'm even leaving a little bit so that I'm not having to be too fussy and cut right along the edge where the color and the white meet. So it can go a little faster just because you don't have to be perfect. Okay, so you're going to get something like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing with one of my Coastal Cabana leaves that I have left from the die cuts. So just, again, just trace around the opening from the leaf. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be more of like a bubble around this negative space here. So there's number 2. So when you add these to your cardstock, these are going to go on with some liquid adhesive just because they're very delicate. So go ahead and add a little adhesive to the larger areas on these cutout pieces. So this one is the smaller of the two. It's the Coastal Cabana, and I am going to place it close. So I'm not worried about this bottom right corner area because that's where I'm going to put my greeting. And so I want this little purple guy on top to cover just slightly. So I'm going to place it somewhere about there. And then just kind of work your way up and along as you lay it down so that it's nice and flat and shows the shape nicely. Okay, so there's my first one. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Add just some couple dots of glue to hold it in place. This one I wanted to angle a little bit more into that corner. So maybe place it somewhere like that. And again, just kind of work your way up and around, making sure to show that leaf there. So it looks something like this. That's kind of your bottom layer. Then we're going to take the die cuts, we're going to add dimensionals to the back, and we'll place them on top. So I've added dimensionals, and I'm going to start with the center one. So this one can just go right between those other two. And then my Coastal Cabana goes on the left side. And then my purple, I'm going to place on the right about there. So it's going to look something like that. You can see how fun it is to layer all those colors and shapes together. To finish the front, I'm going to stamp my greeting. I'm going to use the greeting "To a Wonderful Mother" and stamping it in the polished pink Stampin' spot that came in the kit. And I'm also stamping it just on some scratch paper. And then I'm just going to line it up on the bottom, stamp it, and then we're going to trim this down with our paper trimmer. So it doesn't really matter which greeting you choose to use. I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to flip it over actually. And I'm going to line it up with my paper trimmer and cut. Let's see. Okay, so it's going to look something like this, and it can be any size, just depending on which greeting you've chosen to use. And I'm going to add that to the edge right there. But before I do that, I want to add my gold trim. So I have 10 inches of gold trim, and I'm going to place it in the bottom left corner. So I'm going to add a glue dot first, then find the center, and we're just going to create a faux bow here. So a little bit of trim, and then fold it back on itself. Maybe if your glue dot needs an extra one, you can add an extra glue dot right on top for that second bow. So something like that. And like if you need another one to then adhere to your card, you can add a third glue dot right on top just to hold everything in place. Then take some dimensionals. And I'm just going to use up the rest of my dimensionals here and cut them into pieces. And you're going to add that right to that right edge, just like that. And then you can add this to your card. It looks like that also is on dimensionals. And I'm going to use just some larger size dimensionals. And we'll add that right to our card base, right in the center. Just like that. It's really pretty with that texture from the tissue paper. To finish the front of the card, I am going to add some gold sequins. These are the same ones I've used on my other alternative cards. And you can just tuck them underneath or in between some of these leaves. Use different sizes if you'd like as well. I think I'm going to add this one here by the greeting. And maybe 2 small ones up here. Okay, so just have fun with it. Add as many as you'd like. And then on the inside, I mentioned we're going to use the purple die cut, but I also wanted to add a little bit from this leaf stamp. So I'm going to stamp that in polished pink in the corner, and then I'll layer the purple one on top. And I'm just going to use a little bit of glue just because that's really quick and easy. And the inside is done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun card today using some of the leftover pieces from the March 2023 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're interested in subscribing so that you can get next month's kit, please do so using the link in the description below. If you would like to see written instructions or close-up images on how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.